Greetings, Zimbabwe, and welcome once again to Zim Daily. My name is Yvonne Mchaka, and today we bring you day 9 of 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And on the program, we want to take a look at how GBV is being viewed in the political circles. Is it something that is worth talking about, or we continue bringing up policy after policy without addressing the elephant in the room? Join me after this short break as I introduce to you our guest for the day. Welcome back once again to Zim Daily. This is the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, and we are on day 9. Help me to welcome our guest, President of LEAD, Linda Masarira. Welcome, President.
Thank you very much for inviting me for this show. GBV is an issue that I'm passionate about, and I hope that we're going to have an exciting engagement.
Brilliant. I want you to introduce yourself fully. I know if I just say lead president, it doesn't really cover all your caps. So maybe you can give us an elaborate introduction to who Linda Masarira is.
Semwana wevu tinonzi mambokadzi wekwaMasarira, the Rosary Queen.
Wow.
I am the president of Labour, Economists and African Democrats, the founding president, 100% organically homegrown political party that was formed by former trade unionists in Zimbabwe, of which I'm one of the founding members. And I'm a former trade unionist at the National Railways of Zimbabwe, and I was the first and founding president of Trainmen Workers Union. I'm also the founder and trustee of Zimbabwe Women in Politics Alliance, and I am the founder and trustee of Association of Railway Terminated Employees, an association that represents all victims of the Zua judgment. And I am also the patron of Pensioners Zimbabwe's Voice, which is a pressure group that advocates for pensioners' rights to ensure that they get decent payouts and that social security for them should be what it should be, not the paltry payouts that they're getting and the insufficient social security that they're also getting from government. So in short, I will just say that I am a social justice activist, and I am more inclined to development issues. I believe that there will be no economic development and sustainable human development or sustainable economic growth without development. And there's no way we'll be able to create jobs in Zimbabwe as long as there is no development. So my focus these days is more on developmental issues, is more on unity and letting love lead. Because as long as we're not loving each other as Zimbabweans, we are not going to be able to unite. And neither are we going to be able to develop Africa or our own country, Zimbabwe. Because only love can breed unity and can ensure development, because we can't develop when we're not in love with each other.
Right. You raise an interesting word there when you are speaking, and that is the word of love. Now, what is love to Linda? Because we hear the same people that you're saying, they are perpetrators of different injustices in terms of workspaces, in terms of policy development, etc. Those same people preach love. So what is love?
For me, love is tolerance of diverse views. When we love each other, we don't have time to hate each other. When we love each other, we don't have time to insult each other. We need to differ with dignity. We need to say, my sister Yvonne, you are wrong. Maybe you should have looked at this issue from this angle. I don't have to say that Yvonne, you are ugly, just because I don't like what has come out of your mouth. But the moment we thrive on insulting, it means that love is absent. The moment we thrive on creating propaganda against another person, malicious and baseless information, love is absent. The moment we are always throwing stones at each other, skullduggery, it means that there is an ingredient that is missing, a vital ingredient of life called love. We are all born with so much love. I've never seen any baby that was born with hate. Everyone is born with love. But I don't know where the disconnect comes when we're growing up, when we start breeding hate. For me, which I understand that hate is a demon. Kuvenga ruvengo, moya wechina. And the moment you find yourself with so much hate inside you, it means that there is something wrong. I managed to be a freer and happier person the day I forgave the late Robert Mugabe. I felt like a burden had been taken away from me. I was so angry. I was so bitter.
Why?
I hated that man.
Why did you
because
hate him
I
so
felt
much?
that my life had failed to move because of his government, his policies, the oppression, and everything else. But I needed to find myself. And I found myself and let go and said, he didn't know what he was doing to the ordinary people. But what role can I play to ensure that I enable other Zimbabweans to heal? Then I discovered that if we let go, if we forgive, and we start working towards development and achieving the Zimbabwe that we want to see at a personal level, we'll be able to be tolerant of diverse views. We'll be able to accept everyone as a Zimbabwean. We'll be able to love, and we'll be able to culture and nurture peace at home, peace at the workplace, peace in our communities. But as long as there is hate, the result is war. The result is civil strife. The result is hatred. Do we need that as a people?
Exactly.
No.
Right. What an interesting conversation that we've already started, and you're already talking about the ingredient that will be able to take away all forms of GBV that we're really advocating against. Now, is that the reason why you found yourself in the political arena?
I ended up being in the political arena because I realized that if you're not at the dining table, you're definitely the menu. You cannot change things when you're a spectator or when you're just looking at other people doing what they're doing. There is so much that you can do as an activist. But the real work happens with the politician, with the legislator who is in parliament, who has got the responsibility of enacting laws. The change comes from the councillor, who is supposed to ensure development in the world. But unfortunately, because of our politics of patronage, of our politics of personalities, we fail to elect leadership that will represent the interests of developing Zimbabwe. We have always elected leaders who are egocentric, who are more concerned in stroking their political party leaders' ego at the expense of development. We have had councillors since 1980. Most of them were not even known by the people in their ward. Yet wards are very small spaces. What is your councillor doing? Do you even know the name of your councillor? Most people can't even answer that question. But come election time, everyone will be in a queue voting. Then people will be fighting each other, but they cannot come together even to advocate for water to come out of our tapes. Most of the times I say to people, look at what is happening to women and young girls at water queues. There's now sextortion, sexploitation. You want water, you have to sleep with me, you have to love me, you have to do a whole lot of things. And these issues, no one wants to speak about it. And then when I come out and I say, women, let's go and demonstrate and ask for water. They'll say, zvinonetsa. But water is a basic right. Section 77 of the Constitution is clear that the government, the state, all organs of the state, council should ensure that we've got safe, clean, and potable water coming out of our taps, but that is not happening. And when you speak about these pertinent issues, people would tend to want to play the blame game. This is not the time to be blaming either MDC or ZANU or local government or the main government. The time that we are in is to be able to come together as Zimbabweans and demand water from the authorities. We need water coming out of our taps. There's a lot of violence happening at the balls, especially in high density areas, assault, rape, you name it. And these are realities of gender-based violence that is happening on people who are looking for water. We should just simply come out of our taps in an urban area. So at the end of the day, you'll find that if people are called for a political demonstration to put someone into power, people will go out in their thousands and even get maimed and killed. But when we say let's go and demand for water, people are not prepared to go and demand for
Why is
something that they use on a daily basis.
Why is that the case?
I think it is the case because of ignorance and failure to appreciate that water is a basic and fundamental right which we should all access, whether you're in the rural areas, the farming areas, or in urban areas. And we need that political education. We need that civic education, that people understand that what government should provide to the people of Zimbabwe, it should do that without fear or favor. And sometimes some things do not matter which political party leader said it. But if it is affecting you at a personal level, you need to act. And we need to get water coming out of our taps.
Right. You say something that is really, really key. And I think as a nation, we've lost the plot, really, because these matters and these conversations that are really, really important are being ignored in the spaces that we are operating from because of the various reasons that you've highlighted. We would rather follow personalities rather than build institutions that can actually work for our nation. Right now, we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we go into deeper matters around GBV. Thank you so much. Hello and welcome once again. We're talking to the lead president, Linda Masarira, and this is day 9 of gender-based 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And as you have already started, I'm sure you've had a number of issues that are happening in our communities, in your community, that you need to begin to take keen interest in order for us to develop our country. Now, I come back to you, Madam President, Mambo Cards. Right, Mambo Cards. I come back to you, Mambo Cards. Can we just put in context GBV in the political arena?
GBV in the political arena is very rampant. And it is said that most of the times women are used as gatekeepers of political power for the men in politics and are actually the drivers of the violence against women in politics.
Wow.
You'll find that in most political parties, there's in ZANU-PF, they've got a women's league. In MDC, they've got a women's assembly. In LEAD, we had a women's council, which we abolished last month after the realization that women constitute between 52 and 64%, depending on the age group of women of the population of Zimbabwe. And that there is no reason whatsoever for us to say we are going to create a council of women, yet our constitution in section 17 is clear on the issues to do with gender balance.
Yes.
We decided that we are going to abolish the Women's Council because it structurally marginalizes women from the powerful leadership positions in the running of the political party. Experience taught me that women are relegated to the women's league or the women's assembly, and they're told that that is where your power is.
Right.
But when you look at the governance of the party, the women's assembly or the women's league does not have a voice, does not have power. These women are only used to prop up the men in political parties into power. They are used to fight each other, and they are used to set a particular narrative that the male leader wants. They don't have any real power. When you look at the statistics of other political parties, you'll find that in the Politburo in ZANU-PF, maybe there are less than 30% women.
Right.
I'm not sure of the exact figures, but there are more men than women. If you look at the MDCA, it's the same thing. There are more men than women. If you look at the MDCT, the interim structure that they have, there are more men than women. But what is it that we're saying at Labour Economists and African Democrats? We are clear about the issue to do with constitutionalism. Our constitution actually complies with the tenets of the national constitution, which we view as the supreme law of this land. We are just trying to do politics differently, and we are saying women should be given the space. I understand that power, when men want power, they don't care about giving space to the young people, to the women, but we are saying we are inclusive. We want everyone to have an opportunity to lead. That is why we are growing the party from the grassroots and ensuring that everyone has got an opportunity to represent people in their community, to have a voice and to speak up out about things that affect them. We don't have a policy like in other political parties that you cannot speak to the media. You cannot speak to issues in your community.
Okay.
We are actually encouraging citizen journalism in every area. We are saying every Secretary for Information and Publicity is the journalist in that area. They should tell us about the issues that are affecting people in that particular area.
Right.
So from my experience, I realized that the women's wings, assemblies, leagues actually elbow out women from the powerful positions.
Right.
They are spectators of people at the dining table. They are the waitresses, or they're the ones picking up the mafufus from under the table. Women need to make sure that they're sitting on the table.
Right.
Women may need to make sure that they're not used to fight each other.
Right.
When it comes to women issues, especially in political parties, you'll find that the very same women's assemblies or women's leagues will not stand for another woman who being violated in the political party by the party leaders.
Right. You mentioned that women are normally used in politics to prop up the agendas of the men. Are you implying that women are incapable of making decisions that allow them to sit on the table?
Most women are. That is what I have seen, and I know a lot of women will be angry about this. I could use examples of names, but I will just save the names. But you'll find that some time back, Dr. Thokozani Kupe was being harassed at MDCT. There was a women's assembly. Did it even issue a statement? No. Did they even stand with their deputy president? No. So whose agenda were they pushing?
Wouldn't there have been reasons, internal reasons, why they were not doing that?
So the whole women's assembly could not stand with their vice president.
Right.
That's food for thought.
Right.
I didn't say answer it, but it's just a question I'm throwing out there.
Yeah.
When Mai Mujuru was being vilified in ZANU-PF,
right,
she was the vice president of the country. Where was the Women's League? Did they even issue a statement about it?
Right.
No.
Right.
Where were the women's organizations? Even when Thokozani Kupe was being harassed, where are the women's organizations when I'm kicked and tossed over left, right, and center?
Right.
Women's organizations in Zimbabwe, I'm sorry to say, these are hypocritical, and that's the truth.
Right.
They want to pretend to love us when they call us to their workshops, but when we really need them to speak out, they are nowhere to be found.
Right. Maybe, just maybe, there is not that understanding of a violation that will be taking place. Like, for example, you're always in the limelight. People are commenting about the way you're dressing, the way you're looking, wherever you're going, and everything of that nature. Is it because we're not conscious of what we are perpetrating?
It's not about being conscious. Let me correct you.
Yeah.
It's about who's dangling the carrot.
For who? I mean, when people talk about your dressing, for example, what carrot are they?
Okay, maybe I'm answering from those who are not responsive to the women's issues.
Okay, all right.
Like, for example, when I was talking about the women's assemblies or the women's leagues not standing up for women who will be under fire in political parties.
Right.
It goes back to factionalism, who's dangling the carrot, who's paying you, who's handling you. And that's the reality.
What if there's no one?
I've been in two political parties, to be precise, MDCT and PDP. I've seen these things.
Right.
People have got handlers. Factionalism is real, even in ZANU-PF. Okay. Handlers are always there.
Yeah.
And when it comes to me, I'll tell you, there are a lot of people who told me that they would de-campaign me when I decided to stand with Dr. Thokozani Kupe. Some even paid people.
Why did you stand with Dr.
I will always stand with women when needs be. That is me, number one. Number two, I stood with her, even though I didn't like her, and this is not my first time to say it. I stood with her because she was constitutionally right. I will stand for constitutionalism. Okay. I do not believe in populism. Right. Zimbabwe was in a mess before because of populism.
Right.
And as long as we do not make a conscious decision to change the way we do politics in this country, Zimbabwe will never rise up from politics of populism.
Okay.
And I will stand for what is right. I will support a woman regardless of whether she's in ZANU, MDCT, ZAPU, or Mkwakazi. But I will stand with the interests of the woman so long she is right.
Okay.
But when she's in the wrong or she's faking it, I will call her to order. That is just me. I
Right.
stand for what is right and I support what is right, and what is wrong, I will call it out without fear or favor. I don't call a spade a garden spoon. A
Right.
spade is a spade, and that is what I call it.
Right.
So I've had people sometimes saying I've got selective application of who I represent. That is very wrong.
Okay.
When you are right, and I'll stand with you.
Right.
If you're wrong, don't expect me that I will stand with you because the other time when you're right, I stood with you.
Right.
When you're wrong, I will say, no, you've wrong. This time you are wrong. What you have done is totally wrong. And that is me.
You stood on platforms, Mambo Cards, you stood on platforms and you have attacked other women, for example, the MDC trial, and you have said that they're faking abductions and etc.
I did not attack them.
Okay.
I spoke about what I knew.
Right.
Saying the truth is not attacking a person.
Right.
It is up to them for them to prove that it was not fake.
Right.
Because I spoke about what I knew after I'd done my own research. And I've got the right and freedom to have my own opinion.
Right.
I should not be forced to say that it was true because they're saying it's true.
Okay.
Everyone has got the right to freedom of expression, freedom
Right.
of opinion, and freedom of conscience.
Right.
And when I say this is wrong, for me it is wrong, and I know that it is wrong.
But were they not
when you
abused,
believe
for
that,
example, yeah.
when you believe that I am wrong, that is your belief.
Right.
I can't change it.
Right.
And you believe that they were abused. I don't.
Right.
So you have to respect my opinion, and
Right.
I respect yours. And when I say you are lying that you've been abused, I'm not attacking you. I'm telling you that you're lying, and it's up to you to prove that you're not lying.
Right.
So
Is that
that's
not
the clarity
challenge?
that I'm speaking
Is
about.
that not the challenge that we have in our society today that has aggravated gender-based violence? That it is the prerogative of the abused to prove that they have been abused, and we don't believe those who say I've been abused. We don't want to put in place measures to do investigations to find out what really happened.
The
in order for us-
ZRP did investigations. I did my own. That is why I came out boldly and said that this was fake. Right.
So what happened?
So
Okay.
secondly,
we're
what
not-
happened
we're
is not for this program.
not
This
talking
issue
about
is
them,
in
yeah.
court,
Yeah.
and we're not even
Right.
supposed to be discussing
Right.
it. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, I can give you an example. You raised the Joanna issue, right?
Yeah.
Just last week, she was harassed in Parliament by Chinotimba,
Right.
and I felt it was wrong. I issued a statement about it. I
Right.
called Chinotimba to order. I met him yesterday, and I reiterated that as well because
Right.
it was wrong,
Right.
and because I viewed it that this what Chinotimba did was wrong.
Right.
It's stigmatizing a person who's got her own mental health conditions.
Right.
That is exactly what I was saying earlier on. When you are wrong, I'll tell you
You're
you're
wrong.
wrong.
Okay.
When you are
Right.
right, I will stand with you and say you're right.
Right.
And that is the person that I am. And don't think that because today I said you're right, if you're wrong tomorrow, I will refuse to say that you're wrong.
Right. Okay.
That is the person that I am.
I love the
I will
principle.
never lie. I am
Yeah.
a principled person,
Right.
and I stand for what I believe in. I
Okay.
stand for the truth, and I believe that only the truth will set Zimbabwe free.
Right.
We have had a lot of normative leverage, things that have been done in the political spaces to set political agendas, to tarnish Zimbabwe's image.
Right.
And I will not sit back and watch the name of Zimbabwe being tarnished because some other people want to create an atmosphere for them to get donor funding.
Right.
I've been in the opposition space. I know how it operates.
Right.
So it's up to you to believe me or to say I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
you've got the right to your freedom of conscience. I stand with my freedom of conscience. It's my constitutional right.
Right.
It's my fundamental human right. And if you don't believe what I say, then just say what you're saying is wrong and leave me like that. Don't insult me because of my opinion, because it's
Right.
mine.
Yes.
We are not all the same. We are
And
all
that
born
is
differently.
that is what happens in our society.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
our politics is actually bad for us because the way we do our politics, like you highlighted earlier on, is just so wrong. And I think the principle to know that if I'm right today, it doesn't mean when I'm wrong tomorrow, then I'll support you. If you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, you're right. Right, we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we go into the way forward, what needs to be done in order to end GBV in our political space. Join us after the short break. Hello and welcome back. This is day 9 of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And on the program, I've invited Mambo Kazi, the president of LEAD, Linda Masarira, and I'll come to you straight on the 50-50 representation in parliament. the actually is the proportional representation in parliament, has that given leverage to women to get into leadership positions?
Not at all.
Yeah.
It has just given them leverage to change their lifestyles,
Okay.
because we have very few tangibles that came from the 60 PR seats. And the way that those women are given those seats in political parties leaves a lot to be desired.
Right.
And most of them are intellectually inept, and that is the reality. And some of them, for years, sat in parliament for 5 years, never moved a motion and never said anything,
Right.
whilst they were benefiting from the benefits of being an MP. So for us, we've been clear as a party that we would rather have the electoral system to be amended and have a PR system of electing MPs, like the one that we have in South Africa or the one that is used in the Senate. That is the only way we achieve 50-50 gender representation in our parliament,
Right.
where every political party sends a party list to ZEC with a male, female, male, female, or female, male, female, male, depending on who's the president of the party. And each political party gets its people into parliament depending on the number of votes that they had during the elections. There are advantages to using the PR system for our MP. It will aid diversity. We will achieve 50-50 gender representation. And we will do away with these legitimacy issues that continue holding back Zimbabwe. And we will have every president of a political party in parliament, because the president will be the one that will be number one on the list. And it will be easier for us to move Zimbabwe in the right direction.
Right.
Because with that kind of system, we will never have 2/3 majority of one political party. We'll be able to debate issues, vote on issues, and make sure that we do what is best for all Zimbabweans, regardless of political party affiliation.
Right. The constitutional amendment number 2 is coming through and proposing that this proportional representation, 60 seats, be extended. What's your opinion on that?
My opinion on that is there is no need to extend the 60 PR seats. We want Section 17 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe to be upheld,
Yes.
because the Constitution is supreme law of this land. And Section 3, if I'm not wrong, it clearly states that any practice, any custom, any law that is
That's
inconsistent
yes.
with the Constitution of Zimbabwe is invalid.
Right.
We don't need affirmative action. We
Right.
don't need favors for women to get
for
into
long time,
power.
yeah.
We want half of the seats in parliament to be for women, as is enshrined in the Constitution of Zimbabwe. Finish and clap.
What do we need to put in place to create an environment where more women begin to participate actively and take on leadership roles? Because as you've highlighted, women are participating in politics, but on the back banners. How do we get them to come on the forefront when our environment is as it is?
Power is never given on a silver platter.
Right.
When I realized that there was no space in all other political parties, I created my own space. What is stopping them from creating their own space? No one is going to come to you and say you've won all power. You fight for power.
Right.
You work for power.
Right.
You sacrifice for power. I've had to sell vehicles time and again to fund my political party.
Right.
I've had to sell some things. I've made so many sacrifices for me to be where I am. But most of the times when I go to women's meetings, you hear them saying, Atinama resources. Who do you want to give you resources for you to get into power? Because
Right.
the very same man also wants to get into power and is using his resources.
Right.
Power is never given on a silver platter. Your conviction should push you to take power.
Right.
But if you don't have a conviction, we can't force you. That is what women should know. Women should read. Women should understand the political dynamics in Zimbabwe.
Right.
People should understand the global politics. People should understand, especially women, should stop watching Indian movies, South African soapies, and start investing in leadership.
Right. Right.
We need more women out there articulating issues, changing the environment. All issues that affect people have got to have your burden on women. But where are the women? They're waiting for men to come and pick them
There's
up.
violence.
They're waiting to get married.
There's violence.
We
When
can
we want
stop
to
the
go,
violence
we will beat
when
them.
we start loving.
We should start loving.
Yes, we should start
Generally,
loving
women
and
love.
changing the political environment.
Right.
We've got the power.
What does
But
it
we
take?
prefer to be used.
What does it take to change that?
It
What does it take to
takes
change hate
an
into love?
open-minded heart, open-minded person. People need to stop being caged,
Right.
thinking that loyalty means being loyal to everything, even bad things.
Right.
I'm one person who would tell Tendai Biti, when I was still my president, that this is wrong, and he would get very angry and agitated.
Right.
The time when I was still very close to Chamisa, I would tell him that the path that you're taking is wrong, but very few people can do that to their leaders. Because they want to be seen as the loyal and to be the ones who are appointed when freebies come.
Right.
Leadership is about making a difference. It's about transformation. It's not about being the president's favorite. As long as you're still waiting to be the president's favorite, you will make no difference in society.
Right.
You will make no difference in your country, in your continent, and in the world.
Right.
Women have got the power to change things.
Right.
We are mothers. We nurture life. We bring life. We raise children.
Right.
We take care of our husbands.
Yes.
We can do a lot of things, and there's nothing that is impossible. But when it comes to leadership, the very same women, when they go to
feel
primary
incapable.
elections, they'll vote for men. They will not even nominate another woman.
Right.
So change starts in the mind. What is it that we're feeding women?
Right.
What is it that women are thinking? If we had more women councillors in Harare, I don't think we'll be having problems of water. But because most of the councillors are men and they do not understand the challenges.
Right.
So it is up to us women. Are we ready to lead?
Right.
Are we ready to take over? And are we ready to change things?
I'm sure when we begin to look at service delivery issues at local government and stuff like that, we'll definitely be in touch with you so that we begin to have these conversations, because naturally they will be defending themselves and saying a lot of things about centrality and decentralizing of power. So we don't want to get into that. Now we want to conclude this discussion and say, what is it that the men and the women of Zimbabwe need to do? How do we conscientize them on these different levels, the physical, psychological, emotional GBV that is taking place in our community each and every day? As a woman leader, as a leader of a political party, and you've got this image of Zimbabwe that you want to build, what message would you give to the men, to the women, to the children, to the youth who are in our country to stop GBV?
I'll start with the men.
Right.
Assaulting a woman is not love. When you love someone, you don't inflict pain. The moment you see yourself raising your hand on a woman you married or your girlfriend or your person you love, it means that there's something wrong.
Right.
There's a disconnect. To the woman, shouting, using reverse psychology, emotional pain on your husband is not love.
Right.
We need to be able to have conflict resolution that is peaceful. We will always have differences in marriages, but we do not deal with the conflict by fighting each other or insulting each other.
Right.
Emotional abuse is very rampant in marriages. And people need to connect to the days when they were still loving each other and correct where they went wrong with each other, rather than emotionally abusing each other constantly. Mothers need to stop telling their children "Ndokurova" every time they do wrong.
Right.
Because naturally you breed a culture of kurova, a culture of violence to deal with your anger or discontentment.
Right.
So naturally, women teach children to be violent at a very tender age.
Okay.
Most women will say, "Mwanaka uyati chemandara, enakachorera, wakapusa." No.
Right.
Take both children, kurovana kwakashata, tambai zvaka. That is the culture
Train
that
up
we
the
need to
child.
do.
Right.
Because most of these things that happen to us in our old age are so natural to us. Because we grew up being told,
Right.
we've got so many women, mothers, yekuti haasi kukufarira semuroora yuvhoni. Vona vakayanzi, iwe John, uri kudhererwa nemukadzi murove.
Right.
It's us women who encourage GBV.
Okay.
It's very rare for a father to say, "Une mwana rova mukadzi."
Right.
But isusu anabai. We even fight varora. Vanatete, we fight varora. We don't want to speak about the GBV that we do towards each other as women.
Right.
What we teach our male children, our brothers.
This
We
is the
need
same.
to stop that as women.
Right.
We have the power to change the world, but it all starts to how are we raising our children.
Right.
Are we teaching them peace? Are we teaching them to love? Or to say, handinokwana kushamba namwana wapamai wapa next door. Ndakavavenga. Wakutodzidzisa mwana kuvenga.
Yeah.
Let's teach our children to love. Let's teach them to be peaceful.
Right.
When we teach love and we teach peace, we will nurture peaceful communities, peaceful men and women, peaceful boys and girls. Charity begins at home.
Right.
You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Right.
But my advice to all the men, women, boys, and girls is let love lead. We don't need the violence. We don't need the hate.
Right.
Ngatitaurirane kana tatadzirana. Ngativake nyika yedu pamwe chete. Let's stop the violence.
Right, let's stop the violence. A very strong message coming through from Ombokadze leader Linda Masarira, who is the president of LEAD. Thank you so much, Zimbabwe, for joining us on day 9 of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. Do join us tomorrow as we look at gender-based violence and the church institution. Have a wonderful day. And the crew behind the scenes, we say thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day.